Now we're on to our second show, which is Skeleton Crew.
Oh,
Now,
this is the Acolyte season 2.
No, yeah, Acolyte season 2.
We're waiting on that.
I thought it was coming.
Put a petition in.
I thought for a minute this was going to be the next version of Acolyte Skeleton Crew.
15,000 signatures, so it's on its way back.
It's coming. It's coming.
Go.
So let's talk about Skeleton
You can
Crew.
call me Sith.
We're about to know who was in that cave.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's not Plagueis. It's just some rando alien.
You can call me Sith. Is that right? Was that good for the camera? Okay, good.
Is my hair down?
I don't want to say it too loud. The creepy guy around the corner might hear me.
Can I phone a friend? Is it Sith? Yeah.
The fact that you put Plagueis at the end of the show was such like a shoehorn. Like, let's just show Plagueis, and that'll be, you can't
Plagueis
they can't cancel us now.
Yeah,
we can't lose.
Hey, you saw Plagueis. You're never gonna see him again if it doesn't get greenlit again.
Oh yeah.
And now we're gonna have him in Skeleton Crew.
There was someone in the chat who probably thought, "Oh, I can't wait for season 2." And it's not because fans didn't like it. Well, that's part of it, but it's because the fans that did like it, there wasn't enough of them because it didn't get enough.
And what's crazy is when the show was going, they were trying to convince everybody there were enough fans that loved it. It wasn't until months afterwards that we found out the true numbers, and there weren't enough fans that loved it.
No.
Yeah.
And the fans that loved it, what'd they say? If you don't like it, go watch something else.
And we did.
That's exactly
and we did.
And guess what? Now the show is canceled.
We watched The Penguin. And now we're watching
I'm a gigante.
I'm a gigante. Does that mean a gigantic?
I'm a giant. Okay, so let's talk about season 1, episode 1 and 2 of the Skeleton Crew. Now, this show, I was a bit skeptical about. I thought the show was going to be super lame. I thought it was going to be just very vanilla.
I know you're so negative.
Well, because the Acolyte, I was like, it's going to be something like that. And to my surprise, this show I felt was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I like that there were young kids. They did a great job at kind of bringing out that nostalgia of, when we all grew up, the things that we would do with our friends about Star Wars and how we wanted to, go to different galaxies and do the things that Luke Skywalker did. And I thought that the way they handled this show was very, very good. It was very good. Even the robot that they meet in the ship, I liked him too. I thought for a minute he was going to get kind of corny, but no, I ended up liking him. Yeah, I was like, hey, this guy's cool. Now, we haven't really seen much of Jude Law. It's pretty obvious that Jude Law was the character in the beginning with the mask. I mean, the way he was talking, I was like, that's obviously Jude Law. And Lord Helmet. And when you look at, let me pull this up real quick. When you look at this right here, I don't know if you guys can really see it, but that image right here, he's wearing the same jacket that the guy was wearing in the first episode with the mask.
They could have bought it at the same place.
Pirates don't shower.
So, but that was pretty obvious. But I thought the kids were fine. I did think the oldest girl was a little too like, I'm badass. But at the end of the day, it didn't really, for me, it didn't affect or, deter me from watching the show. It's a kid, and I like that they did kid things.
Went to school. Yeah.
Well, they went to school, but I'll tell you this though, this was the first time we've ever seen a suburb in Star Wars. Yep. And so I was like, wow, I've never seen a suburb before. Now all these houses look fucking hell expensive and clean. I was like, that's kind of
what I did like was that a lot of them, like when you saw them, especially the girl that the girl boss girl, all of her houses in their little cul-de-sac or whatever, they were all the same house. I was like, that's cool, but also cheap. But it's cool because it's like, okay, it's just like a cookie cutter kind of thing, which is what they do out, now, when they build, homes. But then it's cheap because all they did was clone the model and just put it all over the place. So,
and the homes were shaped very differently, so they're trying to give it its own look. I liked that, the main kid, what was his name?
Curly Joe.
You mean Wim?
Wim.
Yeah.
He woke up late and he missed the bus. He goes and gets his bike and then he goes, I know a shortcut. And that's what kids do. They're like, yeah, I know a shortcut, even though they don't really know the way, but they're going to do it anyway. And he got totally lost. But like I said, they were doing kid things and things that like even we did as kids. So I thought that was really cool. And then the fact that he finds the ship, they enter it. And I like how he's saying it's a Jedi temple. It's a Jedi temple, and so
Yeah.
that's kind of like okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it ends up being like a ship. And the special effects of it taking off, I thought looked really good. So overall, though, I thought the show was entertaining. I really liked what they did with it. I liked and like you were saying, Sean, it very much felt like Explorers.
Yep.
The movie Explorers. It felt just like that. The fact that they were on a ship, they had to go to that spaceport where they met aliens and they kind of have to figure out what to do. But I also like the fact that there is this sort of subtle mystery about the planet they come from. Because there's they're like, what? That planet doesn't exist. That's just a legend or whatever. And so I like how there's something mysterious about where they come from, especially how there's so many droids that are kind of like policing them. Hey, you're not allowed here. Hey, you can't go here. And so it kind of makes you wonder what's really going on that planet. But I really like the show. Ryan, what'd you think of Skeleton Crew?
Overall, I enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it.
I actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, dude, it was cool to see it. I had high hopes for it, as I'd mentioned a long time ago. I thought it was going to be pretty good. It's got Jude Law. Jude Law was an AI. He's good with kids, as far as like acting, on the opposite of them. And so I think that interaction. They kind of started it, with the keys and all that. That was cool. Is he a Jedi? Is he not a Jedi? I don't know.
Jedi.
But that remains to be seen. But hey, what's up? What's up? And what's up,
Jack?
Yeah, no, I liked
I know.
I liked all the aliens, all the alien kids that were in the classroom. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the little speeder bike stuff. Little kids coming in, challenging the other ones to a race or some shit. That was cool. I liked how the speeders that the parents were in were on tracks.
Yeah.
So they're only like they couldn't veer off the track. So it was like on the street. There was like lines in the street, and they just kind of like, I guess, stayed on there, just much like a ride at, Disney or whatever else. I thought about that. I was like, maybe they're, this whole show, they could have just said, hey, this is fucking, this, we could do this, like, with the homes and all that, just, the Galaxy's Edge or whatever at the Disney parks or whatever, just make it look like that shit. It just fucking looks, hella, like comfortable and like, oh yeah, it's got a Star Wars feel to it. And there were a couple things that I thought were weird. Number one, I thought it was weird for Wim to jump on the roof and see Neil in the shower or in the bath.
He didn't
The
like
elephant.
that. Yeah, I know.
I was like,
Max Rebo.
Max Rebo. I thought that was weird.
I know. It's like, damn, what?
Like, bro, I mean, like Andre had mentioned on the phone with me earlier, he was like, yeah, like the little kid, his little brother was like, hey, where's Neil? Oh, he's this way or that way. So that was a good interaction with another character.
Like,
and but he went up there and was like, bro, you're naked. That's what? Yeah, kids don't care about that shit. But anyway, I mean, I would have gotten upset, if some, one
I
of
know
my friends,
the guy was still there. Like,
yeah. Like what? Just part of the tub.
but even Neil, though, I mean, I liked his character.
I like his character. He's the the worrisome of the bunch. It kind of reminds me of Stand By Me. What's that kid's name? He's an adult now, but
River Phoenix.
Not River Phoenix. No,
Will Wheaton?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Will Wheaton?
No, not Will Wheaton. The other one, the husky one, but he's
River
not. He has a
Phoenix.
twin brother.
River Phoenix.
No, it's not Corey Feldman. The other one.
River Phoenix.
No.
It's not Corey Feldman or Jerry O'Connell or
Jerry O'Onnell. There you go. Jerry O'Connell.
River Phoenix.
So yeah, he just reminded me. Oh, you're right, Andre. It's just there
it
is. Thank you so much. I did.
But
like
all
that
we
he-
got was the kid that was in the movie. You know, that one kid. That's all
but
we
got
were
to
given
it. But he voiced Superman. There you go. Very, very, very good. I like their dynamic. The girl boss thing was like, okay, yeah, these girls are gonna be, awesome. But I like the other girl. I like the white haired or blonde haired girl with the visor from Star
KB.
Trek.
KB.
Yeah, KB,
Yeah, KB.
voice. And she was cool. She was nice. I thought the other one was just a little bit much, but I was like, yes, it's a child actor, but also that's how they wrote the character for her. And it was just kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. I liked one thing that I thought about was like, okay, so Neil is very worried and very family centric. So when it started getting dark, when they were working with the ship or whatever in the woods, I would have thought that he'd be like, hey, I got a curfew, I gotta go home, I got school or some shit.
Well, he did say he did say, as long as we don't get in trouble, we won't get in trouble. I promise. And then
okay.
But
Well,
I like what you said.
When it was really dark, I was like, okay, these kids, we were told when we were young, like, get back home when the street lights come on or whatever. Yes, they're out in the woods with, but it doesn't matter. It's just like they gotta have some sort of communicator or some shit that, like, their parents like, hit them up and they ignore. Then I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. They missed a call from their parents, and so like their parents are now worried. And like the other guy's dad was walking in the woods. Yeah.
Well, but or even as they're entering the ship, it falls out of the pocket and it lands on the ground.
Yeah, something. But that's a small nitpick. I mean, so far overall with this with the show, it's actually turning out to be really good.
A better show.
I'm sorry, but like I'm thinking of other shows on Disney Plus that I can compare it to, as far as being good so far, and it's better than Book of Boba Fett for me.
Yeah,
and of course we're not even going to bring the Acolyte. Who gives a fuck? But it seems to be if it remains, and that character, the pirate that looks like the wolf, that reminds me of one of the characters from the original Star Wars Cantina scene. So it fit very well with this. I think, and the pirate. Okay, the pirate droid. I liked him, but I thought the rat thing coming out of his eye was cool once, but don't
it just kept on happening.
I was like,
that's enough.
Yeah, just it was cool the first time. Don't overdo it.
I thought this was cool. That fuzzball. I mean, you could argue, is Captain EO a part of? EO. Is it a part of Star Wars? I don't know.
Part of George Lucas.
Yeah. So, but when I saw it in the cage, I was like, "Holy shit! There it is! That's that thing from Captain EO. That's awesome."
Yeah. Also, Captain EO was an exclusive at Disney.
Yes.
So yes,
and it was in Tomorrowland. So
and fuck, ET is in fucking Star Wars. So yeah, dude, all this stuff can be included. That's cool. I like stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested in the show, and I want to see where it leads and what happens. I thought the pirate little place, that little
spaceport
that they took him to, that was good interaction. I like that, he put his money in his sock, because I did that when I was a kid. And I do like, like you said, that there is something significant about Treasure Planet.
Absolutely. The wolf pirate was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It fit the theme of Star Wars. And that was the one thing too, is I felt like all the characters and creatures that you saw in there, it all fit within Star Wars. So I thought John Watts did a really good job putting this show together. Sean, what did you think of Skeleton Crew?
I had zero expectations going into this one, just because, again, I think the last few Disney Plus shows we've gotten for Star Wars, just Star Wars in general, just hasn't been very appealing, and it's been just a letdown overall. So I went into this one thinking, okay, I'll watch it. If I like it, great. If I don't, then I'm already like not shocked, not surprised if it's another failure, because it just seems like they're just almost like trying to churn out Star Wars content and just trying to see if it's gonna get liked, not liked. Now, I liked it. I like both episodes, like we've already kind of talked about, and like we mentioned even before the show. For me, it's like that cross between Stand By Me, Goonies, and Explorer. You know, those early mid 80s type kids movies that are on an adventure. They want to have adventures, and then something happens for them to then have that adventure. And you always have, like, you know, as Ryan mentioned, you know, you have those characters where you have Neil, who's the worrisome, right? You have KB, who's kind of like you can see she's the more the smart one, right? The intellect of the group.
She's a scientist.
She's a scientist.
She's a
scientist. She would be in Creature Commandos. She'd be the scientist.
She'd be the water girl.
She'd be the scientist. And then you have, you know, and obviously you have
the bride.
The bride. Then you have Wim, who's the one who wants to be the one who goes on the adventures, doesn't want to get in trouble, but knows he's going to get in trouble, which we see that from Wendell. I mean, I think it's the type of dad we all probably had. If you were an 80s or a 90s kid, your dad was like that. I'm going to be interested to see if they do explain why they all feel like they can't leave this planet and why they feel that you can't go beyond what they're calling this barrier, which the kids did go beyond, and they realized they could go beyond this barrier. So I'm interested to see if they do explain why they can't go beyond this barrier, but also why the rest of what the galaxy believes is that this world, this At-Aten world or planet doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll explain it.
I'm hoping they do.
No, they will.
They will. They have to.
Now,
who's the pirate? The guy with no nose. I felt like we've seen him before.
The pirate,
the one with no nose.
Yeah, here, look at this image right here.
Oh, that guy. Yes, no, you saw him in the Book of Boba Fett.
That's what it was. I was like, where?
Yeah, he was in the Book of Boba Fett, out in the whatever town Boba Fett was.
Freetown.
No, that wasn't Freetown. It was
Mos Eisley. Mos Vespa.
I don't know.
Most
it was
Espa.
at whatever place he was at. But that's the pirate from there.
It's like Australia. It doesn't exist.
doesn't exist.
They have Republic dictators.
Now, since this is happening since this supposedly is happening at the same time as the Mandalorian, I'm wondering if they're going to somehow later down the line cross these two over. If they do, great. If they don't, I'm fine with that too. Yeah. Jude Law, was confirmed before the show even started. He's not a Jedi. He just happens to be a Force user. He knows how to use the Force, but he isn't. Cool. But he isn't a Jedi. So I thought that was a nice change and twist where we're not sent. This show doesn't feel like it's going to be centralized on Jedi, Sith, and I'm glad I'm hoping it plays out the rest this way. It's not a Skywalker story.
Well, one thing I did like when you bring up the Jedi, one thing I did like was not so much the kids always I want to be a Jedi. I want to be a Jedi. I like that he had toys.
Yeah, the toys he's playing with at the beginning.
And I like that him and Neil were like fake fighting.
Yep.
You know,
but on a planet where they're isolated from the rest of the world, how do they know about Jedi and Sith?
Because everyone knows.
How do you know? If no one's allowed to leave the planet,
they since it's urban and they live in a neighborhood, they probably have access to Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Disney Plus. Earth is in the Star Wars universe.
Because no one's allowed to leave the planet. How do you know about the outside world?
Maybe this is Earth 2, and we're just calling it
world rejects us.
But overall, I'm pleased with it. I don't know if anyone here knows. I couldn't find anything on it after I watched it.
Looked on Wikipedia.
If the show continues with all the kids at this age, or at some point because they're lost, they don't know how to get back home. Is there a time jump where they're no longer little kids anymore and they become young adults?
No, I think this show
like Narnia.
Yeah, like Narnia.
I'm just saying, hey, this is Star Wars, right? This is 2024 Star Wars.
What they do is they're going to integrate like the laws of physics from what's that movie? God damn it.
The girl boss turns out to be Ray's mother.
Fern, Fern turns out to be Ray's mother.
No, what's that movie? Christopher Nolan, Interstellar.
So Batman Begins.
They're on this planet, but like really on their planet, time's only moving.
It's like Memento. Got it.
You think it's like that one movie of Christopher Nolan, Tenet,
Inception.
Yeah, the one that has the kid in it. That he also was in this one.
Oh yeah.
So
okay,
that's
Matt. Matt, what did you think of
that Chris O'Connell?
Skeleton Crew?
That's him.
Man,
River Phoenix.
It's a solid show. It is a solid show. I like the Goonies references with the skeletons in the ship. I think that was really cool.
Yes, that was cool.
Yeah, they were like this one's for Willie.
No. Save that for Willie.
The
Uh-oh.
Rip.
Lost him. There he
We
is.
can't hear him.
Oh, there he is. Oh, that's the end of the review.
what?
Oh,
What do you mean y'all lost me?
mic-
something's
your
wrong
mic
with your
cut out.
mic. Yeah, your mic.
Yeah, you might kind of pop.
Oh my god.
Something's wrong.
We can
So
hear
can-
you. You're fine.
Okay.
I
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
Did you just move in?
You're a troll. All right. What the fuck was it? Oh yeah, all the aliens at the port were freaking dope. I like seeing that strip club. Okay, Disney, let's pump our brakes.
Does he look like a bitch?
Yeah,
Um,
save that for Creature Commandos.
Dude, they had a strip club, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
But
I
I
was
was,
like,
but I
all
was
right.
like, I like how the oldest girl was like, come on, no, we're not going in there. Like, you know,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
kind of
like-
knew, like, yeah, no. But then the stripper was like,
but they're
your
planning.
children, what
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
doing here? It was like,
Yeah,
who the
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
are you?
Yeah, yeah.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
I know.
They have like a whistle. A mace?
Yeah.
That would've
I'm
changed
guessing
the-
they're like from a planet that's like El Dorado or Atlantis because everyone's amazed by their gold. It's so like, I guess it's worth a lot or whatever. Because
But it's Republic credits. So that's why it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, but it looks like it's probably the old Republic credits. That's what they kept saying.
old Republic, huh?
Well, the
Yeah.
one the guy at the counter that was serving them food said, "Where'd you get these old?" And he said they were mint, like they were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
pristine. So that was as if they were brand new. They had never seen something like that
Yeah.
before. So
But
yeah,
he said old Republic credits. I think he said that.
yeah, he did.
So maybe, you know, this planet has been in isolation even, you know, before Star Wars, you know, A New Hope and all that. They were always in isolation.
I know. So like, did something similar to Camino happen where someone deleted them from the archives? No one knows about them.
Yeah.
Because
We're
I
like-
was
Probably
kind of-
that old librarian.
If it's not in the was it if it's not in the records.
At first, I was thinking, man,
exist.
it is a big galaxy. I
know
mean, you
Saber
can't know every
dies.
planet. That's what I was thinking at first. But then, like, everyone was like, "Oh, that planet's a myth." I was like, "Oh shit!" So, is this just Atlantis?
Well,
What-
and on the show, when they were in but see what's weird is that like because when he's watching his comics or whatever, he saw Jedi, he saw, you know, starfighters, you know, so they had some knowledge of that of Jedi because he
Yeah.
knew what a Jedi was. So it could be that you know
Jedi's predate the Old Republic.
right. So this planet was established during the Old Republic, and then once the Empire took over, it was forgotten about.
It was
And so
it was deleted
It was deleted
from the Jedi archives.
Well, and then that's where I
It
think
simply doesn't exist.
well, that's part of that whole barrier thing comes in because now
Yeah.
it seems like no one can find the planet. Now there's this barrier.
Right, that,
keeping this
it,
planet
it's not on
hidden.
the maps.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
there.
It cloaks it
So-
probably or something.
Yeah, and R2D2 has the rest of the map that you can fit in place and then find them, and that will lead you to Luke Skywalker.
Because if you had the rest of it, you couldn't match it. You're like,
Or
I
it's
need
in-
that last piece because I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what's
yeah.
there.
Or
Yeah.
it's in the blue diamond that Rose decided to throw overboard.
Yeah. Oops.
Whoopsie.
Whoop.
It's been 84 years.
Nope. Part.
So, one thing that bothered me about the show, because I mean, something has to bother you about the
Hot
show,
tub
right?
elephant. What else?
Was Jaleel White.
Oh.
Okay, so this is on par with Jack Black and Lizzo and Christopher Lloyd. It was like, what the fuck?
He's not as. I mean, he's well known, but he's not as big as Christopher Lloyd.
My
and Jack Black.
only thought is that this show is trying to bite off nostalgia from all of us fans that are a little bit older, right? So why not throw Steve Urkel in there, because that was during the same time and you guys were growing up, you guys were watching him, but it was kind of like that guy's fucking typecast as Steve Urkel. When I saw him, I was like, oh look, there's Steve Urkel dressed as
You
Cyborg.
can't say that because look, they moved his hair from the top of his head to his chin.
It's such a bad costume, and he looks
It is. It's
cleaner.
horrible. I mean, he's got the lobot head, and then he's got this like fucking this big ass thing on his eye to like obscure him so that he's not as easily recognizable because of his fucking eyeballs. That's just fucking like right there, dude. Like you said, it's fucking Steve Urkel, in a horrible costume.
It's Steve Urkel trying to dress up as Cyborg. That's what that looks like. And so it looks dumb. This was the only thing I didn't like about the show. Everything else felt cinematic. And that was the other thing too. Everything felt very cinematic. Like I was watching a movie.
Yeah.
You know, and it's John Watts right there. And then when I saw this guy, I was like, what the fuck is he doing here? Like, did he sneak in on set? And they were just like, oh, screw it, use him. I just didn't like it.
But kids aren't gonna know who Steve Urkel is or who this person is, except for people who grew up watching Family Matters.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
so I mean, thinking about the focus of this show as being these kids going on a journey. I'm sure they're definitely going after that general audience of little kids now having a Star Wars show that they can resonate with. That, like we talked about earlier, like when we used to go riding our bikes until the streetlights came on, or you used to go find something somewhere with your friends and try to dig it up and see what it was, right? I mean, yes, kids today don't typically, your vast majority of kids don't do that today because they're either stuck on a tablet, stuck on a smartphone, whatever. But there still is, I think, a population of kids out there, depending upon where you live, especially here in the US, that still do those things.
Like,
and that's what they're trying to go after.
This is a show that, like, I want my kids to watch.
Yeah,
because I think it's a cool show.
Yeah,
and it's appropriate in that sense. I mean, yeah, in the beginning it was pretty violent, which I liked. You know, when the pirates were raiding that ship, which they're raiding that ship. They open the doors and they're just like barreling out, getting shot. I was just like, hold on. You think it'd be like, hey, stop.
Have you learned nothing from a New Hope?
Yeah, it's like you would think, you know, those guys running would have been like, oh shit, hey, oh, hold on.
Push forward.
Wait, they're shooting at us. I mean, they were just running out to their deaths. Yeah. And after it was over, like, oh, victory. We only lost 30 men, but whatever. We'll get new ones.
We split the booty evenly.
There's one credit.
I was for one credit. But I thought when they had the one credit, he's like, you know, like, you fooled us. I thought it was gonna be like, like it was all a sting.
It had to be a trap because it was one credit. It wasn't like it was a one credit accidentally left behind. It was just one credit.
That's why I thought it was a trap, but it wasn't. It wasn't a trap.
That's okay. So yeah,
because in the trailer we saw Jude Law, you know, locked up in some kind of cell. So I thought, oh, okay, so this is a trap, and they're all going to get captured.
Is that credit the same looking credit that the kids have?
I think it was.
It is. It's the same credit.
They dropped it off.
It's the same
on
one.
Planet.
What?
Maybe they dropped it off at that planet. That's the connection that.
Well,
happened.
yeah, no, that's probably where they were. No, because you know what? I would think that they would just
they dropped it off somewhere. They had to have dropped it off somewhere, and they forgot one.
Wait,
your
what are you doing with your mic?
Yeah,
I'm not touching my mic.
It's your cord or something.
Oh.
It keeps raising in volume.
Yeah. It's like popping. Boop.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, so
Yeah,
my thing is that I want to go.
I thought it was a Republic credit.
Republic credit is not good here.
Mine just moved, so you never know.
My
they had to have
work
dropped off
on
those
me.
credits.
Only money.
But yeah, no, I think that, you know, their currency on that planet is probably whatever
they had to have dropped it off because the guys were being very secretive. They're not trying to give away.
They were
the
being
planet.
secretive.
Yeah,
but
they're being
Right,
very
you're
secretive.
right. You're right. I think
why
it
would
is
you
connected
continue
to it.
to a planet and keep dropping off money if it's supposed to? Just let that shit circulate.
Yeah, why were they dropping it off there? Like what?
Whose side are you on? What do you? He keeps interrogating. He's like,
Could have
"You're
someone-
right. You're right." But what
Someone
about-
could be.
What do you know about the
What do you-
planet? At Atten.
Where are the drugs?
Where's the trigger? Where is it? Is it over here? Are you sitting on it?
Someone's probably hoarding the credits on the planet. I keep dropping more off.
Could be.
It's his dad. His dad is hoarding the
Dad.
credits. The
Yeah.
droids are. They're
I
like,
think
we're gonna
it's
keep all
more
these
likely
credits.
because the mom is what's on the poster, right? And she was only there for like all of 5 minutes talking to her daughter about like whatever the fuck they
You
were
mean-
talking about.
You mean Farah? Fern's mom? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah,
Fora?
right
Farah.
there.
Yeah, that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
his mom.
the lady's mom, right? So apparently she's the one that's like, you know, orchestrating all this shit. So or at least knows something about that.
Is the broom boy from Last Jedi in the show? No, he's not.
Oh god, he is alive and well.
Anyone could be a Jedi. Oh god.
Except for Jude Law, he chose not to.
He chose not to be.
Like
Yeah,
he
that's cool.
carries
I
a
like
gun.
I like that. That's awesome.
He's got
Yeah,
a
no,
gun.
it's cool because it's like, okay,
Force
you know,
user
there's
being
force
something
sensitive
else.
people But you know, they don't all have to be Jedi or Sith.
I guess they're like, since the stormtrooper one failed, let's make him a pirate.
Yeah, let's make him a pirate.
Let's do this.
Ray,
Yeah,
I'm force sensitive. Like, well, no, what? That was the dumbest thing. When they made fucking Finn force sensitive, I was like, the fuck are we doing, dude?
That's
Come
what we were
on,
hoping
man.
for in the Force Awakens. Shit.
They were closing it up. It was like, this is a nice thing we're doing.
Well, no. What's his face was like, I'm bringing this idea back. I wanted him to be a Force user.
Yeah.
Like,
Ryan
he-
Johnson
yeah,
took it away.
and you saw how that worked out. We haven't seen Finn since. Who gives a shit?
yeah, he's fighting monsters in Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pacific Rim. Yeah. Okay, so overall, what did we give Skeleton Crew? So far in the first 2 episodes, I'm gonna give it I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Super low.
Ryan, what'd you give Skeleton Crew?
Yeah, I'll give it about. I'll give it an 8.1.
Oh, we're doing decimals. Okay.
Yeah, he's gotta top me somehow.
It's like The Price is Right.
Yeah.
$1 and 1 penny.
I just
$1.
killed him. Yeah, no, I think it was pretty good. I really liked it. I enjoyed. I mean, like the nitpicks that I had on this were very minimal
Yeah.
and easily overlooked. Like I was telling Andre the other day, I was like, this is a show that I don't see how you watch Creature Commandos again, but this is a show that I'd probably watch again.
Yeah.
I will not watch Creature Commandos again because I think it's shit.
It had
So
really
far.
good storytelling, and it was well written.
Well written.
The one thing that we haven't seen from Star Wars in a while is a well written show. Even the girl KM, is it KM?
KB Toys.
Like KB Toys.
Thank you.
KB, when those guys rolled up and they were like, "Hey, what's up?" They wanted to race him. When when they pulled up, she stood up and like put her glasses back on, like, you know, kind of like most kids would do, like, oh shit, you know. It just everything about it and their actions and the things they did, it just felt very organic, and that's just it's well written. I like it.
Probably, yeah. There you go.
All right, Sean.
7. I'm giving it a 7 because I think there's still it's not perfect. And I think there's still a lot of room for it to grow into. And
Jack
it's only
gave it an 8.
it's only the first 2 episodes, so I'll give it a 7 because I think we have it's an 8 episode series, so yeah, we still got 6 more to go.
Yeah,
Well, everyone in the chat who's watching now, leave a number like Jack did. What do you give Skeleton Crew? All right, and then go ahead, Sean.
No, I mean everything, pretty much everything we've already all talked about, right? It's again, I think for me, if I had to choose between this show or Creature Commandos, I would definitely watch this show, continue watching the show, and would watch this show again as a rewatch before I would go back to Creature
I'm
Commandos.
gonna watch it when we end the stream.
Now, I'm hoping they continue with this pace though. Don't slow down from the story. Don't slow down from it continuing to grow, because otherwise you fall in that trap of filler episode. Now we feel things are either getting rushed or like we saw with the Acolyte, when things start not to make sense, whether that's just the laws of physics of trees falling the opposite way when they shouldn't fall that way. I mean, just simple things. From a story
Such a
perspective.
bad show. God.
I'm using that as an example of I don't want to see it fall into that trap. You started off good, keep that momentum going, and if you do, then I could see. I mean, for me, from a score perspective, I would go higher with it. So,
Or like when she flies through the asteroid field and he's like a bigger ship, I'm gonna follow her. Like, why wouldn't he just fly over it and just
Wait, when
why did he target her to shoot her? He was gonna fucking kill her?
when OSHA was outside working
here
on
we
the
go.
ship, was she wearing a fucking spacesuit?
Yeah, she was.
She was, okay, because
What
that's
do you
the
think she was
pirate.
out there fucking
When they no, because I mean, you got fucking what's his face, Grievous,
Ahsoka?
he can fucking go out and breathe and shit.
Yeah, but he's part machine, so
yeah, but also
I
organic.
could say 2 more words that will derail this entire rest of this conversation. Jedi Wookiee. I'm going to step back now.
Jedi-
Oh, he wouldn't be able to survive in space either. But yeah, no. So I saw that when the pirates were were jumping over and attacking from the outside. I thought it was cool that they were disabling the ship, but they were wearing the spacesuits, and I was like,
Yep.
I don't don't try to go too logically with this shit. Yeah,
No,
fucking
I like that. I mean, what did you want them wearing?
nothing. It's fine.
Just
I enjoyed that fact because we had not seen something like that being done in any other Star Wars show.
Yeah.
Or movie
I
where-
like that they were doing that, but
that's why I
don't
like
get all
that,
fucking Total Recall on me and like.
Well, one thing
You know?
I did notice, so when they had those tubes come out and enter the other ship, that reminded me of the third Star Trek reboot when they had those ships collide into the Enterprise. That's how they got inside the Enterprise.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what that scene reminded me of.
Yeah,
Is how they got into that ship. So
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good.
I like
was
the
good.
fucking the little the tubes that they were running over.
Yep.
You know, that was cool to see. Yeah, it's pretty good, pretty good.
The skeletons you were talking about, or somebody was saying in the ships.
Matt was saying that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool that when they discovered it, that the ship was actually upside down because you saw the chairs come
Yeah.
down, and it was like, wait, what? And that's when I was like, oh shit, it's upside down. And then they had to flip over, and they were like, ah.
Yeah.
And it was just the show was a lot of fun, and hopefully, like Sean says, it doesn't slow down where they're like, on this episode we have to save all the kittens, you know, like, oh no,
Yeah. We got to go back in.
they're
and
killing
save
the
planet we're
fuzzies. We
on.
have to help them. Like,
Yeah.
okay. What are we
Are
doing?
there any spiders in here?
Yeah, I would argue, and before we get to Matt, I'll say this: I almost would argue that like the way they introduced these characters, and then the way that the characters were introduced to like the greater universe, I'd almost argue that like the Force Awakens would have been better if they had a younger cast meeting the characters in where they're supposed to be. Luke is a Jedi Master having his academy. Han Solo is a general. Leia Organa is like not the Chancellor, but maybe right below that. You know, when they meet these characters, they're blown away. Like, oh my God, you're Luke Skywalker. You know, because then
Well, they did that. They said that.
not really. I mean, they
Oh
did.
my God, you're Luke Skywalker.
I mean, they did, but then it's like immediately they turn them into bastards. Like, oh, they're failed.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
they got to do that eventually because it's just Disney. Disney's gonna. It didn't matter what age the kids were. That Disney was gonna fuck them over.
Yeah, it was just dumb. But okay, Matt, Skeleton Crew. What did you think of it?
Why'd you think it's a 10?
No, it's an 8.5. I enjoy the show thoroughly. I'm looking forward to
You pulled that Price is Right dude, right there. $1.05.
I'm definitely looking forward to the next episode. And I mean, what do y'all think with Jude Law? Is he going to be another Han Solo, or is he going to stay a pirate?
He'll be more of a Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh God!
I think something will happen to either a group of the kids or one of them. Well, he'll have to make a hard decision, either sacrifice himself or he'll have to make a decision
Oh
on
yeah.
whether or
I
not
mean,
he'll be
you
a good or
saw-
bad character.
Right, but you saw in the
Guys.
first episode where he's not this evil, vicious pirate.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's
No,
not.
I'm
No.
just
hey,
It's not
there's a
us.
chance.
like
because
Sean,
look,
Sean, you're way off base here. Let me tell you something.
well, hold on now,
He's
because
a
remember,
Sith Lord?
remember what he said. He was like, he was like, I'll help you get out of here as long as you take me with you. So I think that he ultimately will become the villain because I think he's trying to get to at Ada for a certain
Right. No,
purpose.
He's definitely still a pirate at the end of the day.
But what I'm saying is that I think he ultimately is the villain of the show.
He's the double cross is going to double cross, but then he's
Yeah,
going to
like-
turn a new leaf.
Oh God.
And
But-
sacrifice.
I
That's
think
what-
he'll
think-
end up
and I
being
think
like the
something will
villain.
happen. I think what will happen is we're going to see this relationship build between him and these kids over the
Yep.
course of these last few over the course of the season, and it's going to come down to probably the last half of episode 7 into episode 8. He'll have to make a decision either to sacrifice himself or he's going to have to make a decision. Do I go be this pirate that I've always been and continue down this path, or do I decide to make a better decision for
Yeah.
the sake of these kids so they don't end up like me, so to speak, right? I think it's gonna be if they've started off in this wholesome way. I don't see them trying to deviate too far from that.
Yeah.
Well, see what they're going to do with the little kid, the curly haired kid. I forget his name. Curly Joe. So
Whim.
he already idolizes Jedi. He thinks that this guy is a Jedi, so he is going to just
He's gonna do everything for this guy.
Over it.
He's gonna-
He's just gonna
Yeah.
fall for it, right? But then the girl boss, she's gonna be like, she's gonna be the one to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, yeah,
Of
yeah,
course.
she's gonna be the one to figure it out, and he's gonna, and that's gonna cause tension between the group or whatever, because he's, oh, he's a Jedi, he's Jedi are awesome or whatever, and she'd be like, I don't trust him because I know, and so that's gonna cause a big rift in.
Well, of the group, she'd be the one I'd say she has the street smarts of the group.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna.
Or KB will figure it out, tell Fern, and then Fern will be the one to expose him. And then Wim is gonna be the one who's like, "No, he's a Jedi. Jedis don't do that. You don't do that, right?" Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
And Neil
did.
just wants to go home.
And then he'll be heartbroken because he'll find out that Jude Law is a mean pirate, and like, you're not a Jedi. That's not what Jedis represent. I hate you, and then Jude Law will then have to rebound himself, like, okay, let me redeem myself by becoming your friends and saving you.
Yeah. And he's gonna have the whole Han Solo thing where he's like,
Here's
Or
my
he gets
money.
stabbed by Kylo Ren.
Well, that's later in his sequel trilogies.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with Han Solo. He was like, I'm all about the money. I got paid, kid. Get the fuck out of here. And then he came back and like, hey, we're gonna blow it up, star.
Do you guys think that these kids, maybe not Jude Law, or maybe Jude Law, but these kids, are they going to continue on in the Star Wars universe? Like, are they going to show up in movies?
I think they'll do crossover shit. I think so. I mean, they've already done it with that one pirate.
I think if they make it back to their planet, that's it. I mean, what else are you going to do after
They
that?
never leave anything alone, though. I mean, they do with the Book of Boba Fett because that wasn't their original character.
Well, it's an unlisted
ditched,
planet.
They ditched him back in Tatooine. Like, we'll deal with him later.
Yeah.
But
You probably see
I
Jude
feel-
Law.
But here's the thing: is that I feel like these kids, especially Wim, like, I feel like I know more of them and I know them better than Rey. Rey was a very shallow character. Rey didn't have a lot of background, didn't have a lot of personality. Well,
they made a mistake by trying to make her mysterious, and
that was the
instead
worst
they just
thing.
made her one-dimensional, and they made her, a girl boss that just never failed. So you couldn't really relate to her. Yeah, you couldn't relate to her at all.
By the
So who
second
cares?
movie, by The Last Jedi, they should have revealed who she really was.
Daisy Ridley.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Ah!
they should have revealed who she really was in the Star Wars universe. Like, and then in the
He's
third
a
one,
Palpatine.
she has to come to grips with who she really is, and she accepts that. Not in the third one at the very end.
What's your family name?
I'm Skywalker.
Liar!
Luke Skywalker was in the background as a Force Ghost saying this.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Him and Leia were like, no, don't believe her.
I think the only way this gets connected is if we don't know it yet, and they are somehow in the Mandalorian Grogu film.
Well, this takes place how many years after
No,
Return of the Jedi?
This is happening the same timeline as Mandalorian's happening.
Yeah, Andre.
Yeah, Andre.
Fucking A.
Get your shit
It
together.
would be cool if they don't resolve it during this season, so that they still.
That's
can have
but the question Andre is asking is, do we see them kind of crossing over? That'd be the only opportunity I could see them crossing over.
Right.
problem
Like
too is that they're
Ahsoka, and
kids.
they would like.
Well, correct. But again,
need-
if it's happening at the same time as the Mandalorian's happening, and they don't continue like with another season of the show, and they say, hey, let's bring these kids into a feature film. I could see them showing up somewhere, maybe at the end of that film, and then leading them into a season 2, maybe. Otherwise, they're going to be very, as Matt said, it's going to be a very centralized, because no one knows of this planet. Either they go back to their planet or they don't after the end of the season. They're still out there lost.
But that's the thing, is that is this going to lead to a, like a
no.
Infinity War, Endgame team up?
No.
Like, where all the,
these kids are not going to take on Thrawn.
Where these kids, the Mandalorian, all those characters all come together in one movie.
And Galacticus is not showing up.
No.
Galacticus?
It's not showing up.
Okay. So what's going to happen, and I think this is why they made it, Treasure Planet that nobody knows about.
No one's ever really gone.
They're gone. I didn't say they're gone, but they're they made it to where they're on a planet that, like you said, it's all summed up, and no one's ever going to see them because it's off charts, right? So they'll just put them back because it's supposed to be self-contained. Because they're like, okay, well, what if this show sucks too? So they have that sort of in there. It's like, okay, well, we have a fail-safe. If it sucks, then they're on their planet and we'll never see them again. So I don't think
if they get back to their planet and they say this show turned out great, now we have to figure out how they get out of the
back off the planet again.
outside the barrier.
Star Warriors,
lost
assemble!
again.
It's just.
Well, it's the same thing with the the Joker and the Joker 2. You have to figure out how you're gonna fucking
bring that up.
I'm just saying.
Two great films, by the way.
I don't know because I did not watch it, but I'm just saying. At the end of Joker 1,
do you want to turn off?
At the end of Joker 1, it's like, okay, well, there's not really much more you can do with that. It's a good self-contained. If they never made another one, it makes sense because it's wrapped up and he goes into the he's in this asylum or whatever. So it's great. How do you go back and like do the same thing again?
Well, unless Disney is saying based on the previous issues we've had with other shows, we're writing this as Matt said, maybe they just end up back on their planet, and then if we figure out another way to continue their story, if the show's successful afterwards, we worry about that later down the road.
What we need is a group of kids that can help us out. And does anyone have any kids? Dun, 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 dun,
and Grogu's like,
they're back. But they got to figure this out because these kids are getting older. We've seen in Stranger Things, they're like 20-year-olds acting like they're 10. Like, hey, what's up? Hey, Mom wants us to come back for dinner, but let's stay out. And they're like clearly like 18, 19 years old. You're like, okay, you aren't kids anymore.
We got to do our homework. I got to shave first.
I got to ride my bike. I don't have a license. Like, well, actually, you're 27, so.
Yeah, it didn't help. Season 4 to 5 took about 3 years to do. So
yeah, it's like, and that's the problem with kids shows is that like you have to hurry because they're aging.
That's the good thing about this fucking deep fake AIs, all that kind of shit. You just make a fake kid.
Maybe that's why they put a visor on KB.
Kid.
They're like,
just
we'll
make 'em
cover
fake,
up part
dude.
of your face,
And then just get a voice actor. That's it.
So we'll see where the show takes us. But so far, we're all really impressed with Skeleton Crew. So it's done well and surprising because the previous show, The Acolyte, was a complete piece of shit.
It was a mess.
It was a mess.
It was a mess.
It was on the same level as this movie right here.
Oh, something is definitely bleeding.
oh man, that's just hard to watch.
I actually quite enjoyed it. Okay.
Has anyone even gone back and watched that movie again?
No.
Okay.
What movie?
I didn't
Fucking
think so.
terrible.
Batman?
I think so.
Batman?
Batman?
It's trash.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
That was for you, Ryan.
Oh, me. Oh, okay. Thanks. Batman?